bags are packed, are you ready to go? This time tomorrow we'll be on the road, riding with you in the sunnier days. I wouldn't want it any other way.
Welcome to the WifeSavers Podcast, where multi-award-winning author and global marriage educator Ramona Zabriskie provides answers to your real wife questions. Our goal is to help you appreciate your womanhood, prioritize your personal development, and craft a powerful partnership with the man in your life. Hi, I'm Hannah Allen, and I'm proud to introduce my parents, Ramona and Dale Zabriskie. And yes, this is how they talk all the time. Let's listen.
Hello, Dale Zabriskie here once again, recuperating. I'm in that recuperating mode from a vacation.
Yeah, that's true. We've been on vacation in Orlando, no less.
Yeah.
Which for us isn't actually vacation land. We raised our family in Orlando. So
and
some of that family
here.
So we come and we hang out with the grandkids, but we do the 14-hour day with the 14-year-old.
Yeah, it's 1 hour per age.
At Epcot.
So if you go to Epcot with a 1-year-old, just plan on an hour.
That's a good idea.
And then the older they get.
Hey, we could write a guidebook about that.
There is a law of diminishing return. You know, I think if you don't take a 20-year-old and
oh, that's true.
That's true. But
yeah, I'm 60 and I don't know if I could handle 60 hours.
That's right. But it's we lived here and we did it. We've experienced it. But then going again, and it was like 97 degrees.
Right.
Oh boy. Just memories.
It really
flooding.
Pushes the envelope on the happiest place on earth.
That's right. You see those mothers getting out of cars with their kids and go, you get in here because we're going to go in here. We're going to have some fun.
Yeah, we passed a family just like that. Do you remember? I go, there's a happy family.
That's right.
She's scolding the kid. Yeah.
But it's tough.
Thing. Yeah, it is tough. And that's what our lesson is, my question is about today from our reader. Ready for this?
Okay.
I was wondering if you have any family vacation advice. We took a trip this weekend as a family. The pre-trip me felt like I had my WifeSavers principles in hand. She packed her WifeSavers principles. And I was doing fairly well in my roles as wife and mother. Despite all my daily efforts leading up to the trip, the while on a family vacation trip me felt completely in a tailspin at times, wondering who this family was.
It's not who I expected to bring along with me.
That I was with. And how did we get to this crazy place so quickly? I mean, they're barely a few blocks down the street,
and
right?
It started, yeah.
There were moments when the kids were fighting, husband was frustrated and harsh, and I was anxious as all get out. How does this happen? Who flipped the switch? Is vacation really that disruptive to family life, or is it just me? I'm frustrated by the fact that while at home in my own environment where we have our normal routine, I feel on top of things. But once we leave our comfy home and routines behind for the sake of precious family time, I struggle at times to even want to be with my family. It's like the rug is pulled out from under me and I am free falling as I watch all my WifeSavers mantras and truths fly past me in the whirlwind.
You lost in a tornado.
Please help me understand how to keep my Pioneer Woman Foundation when we go on a family vacation, multiple exclamation points.
Well, what's fun about that though is she's really steeped in WifeSavers.
She knows her stuff.
Her nomenclature.
She's talking about Pioneer Woman, the works.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you might sometimes feel like a pioneer trying to navigate through whether it's Disney or the beach or the camping or whatever.
Do pioneers have vacations?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Life is a vacation for them. Huh?
Well, yeah, now we go to log cabins and rough it out for fun.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I do have some ideas, some based on my own experience.
Right.
Absolutely. And I do think that we have a little more than most people, maybe just because we raised our family in Orlando, right? And we did have to make a lot of long distance trips to go see family. Everyone lived out west.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a big deal. I remember.
Yeah.
It's an ordeal, and you get so excited, and like she said, her daily preparations. It took her weeks probably to plan this whole thing out and to anticipate and get it right down to the fine.
And then
print.
that's what it's like. The logistics become the thing, right?
Uh-huh.
And especially from a guy's perspective.
Yes.
Because I got everything in the place. I know how to get. I don't need to ask for directions. I know where I'm going, and got the car all set or the plane's all set.
Everybody step back. This luggage goes in a way that only I understand.
Exactly right.
What did Jerry Seinfeld used to say about that?
Aliens can come from another world. It's like, Dad, I think they know something about traveling. He said, No, I got it. You know.
They're like, we're here to help.
That's right.
So absolutely, everybody's excited, and so you can't help but tumble and fall from what those high expectations. Exactly. So that's why I'm not going to tell her how to escape the stress. Really, meaning I think it's unavoidable.
Yeah, it's just inherent. Comes with it. You have to accept that. Now,
of course, you can do a lot of prep. You can do a lot of forethought, a lot of pre-planning there's a million books and blogs and articles. Just Google your heart out, reading about how to handle kids on a vacation, for instance, or 36 amazing family vacations. There's so much of that out there, and it is absolutely valuable advice, no question. But I'm going to approach it like you're probably going to have all that chaos and disappointment and frustration. How do you redeem the vacation? How do you still get what you hope from it?
And not let that overshadow the real reason. It's the term that no battle plan. What's the word? Oh shoot, I can't remember. No battle plan survives the first encounter with the enemy. Okay, so it's the same thing. You've got all your logistics. You got everything all set up. It's going to go just like this. Everything in its place. And then as soon as you start, something happens that changes. And so you have to adapt.
Exactly. But you know what? She's seeing her family as the enemy.
Yeah, it's true.
Like we're barely down the street. Who are these people? So, all right, you ready? I've got 5 suggestions for us. Here's number 1. Focus on feelings.
Feelings.
Right.
Like he's bugging me or he's breathing my air or...
No. I love that. From the very start of your dreaming and your planning all the way through your vacation, what you're going to do is focus on, instead of, okay, what do we usually focus on? Where are we going to go?
Logistics.
What are we going to do?
Right.
How are we going to get there?
Right.
Instead, we're going to focus on our feelings. What do we or I want to feel?
Why are you going on vacation anyway?
Yeah.
Right?
Are you hoping to feel close to your husband and your children? Well, of course you are. That's what she said. She was looking forward to precious family time, right? Do you want to feel more strongly connected? Do you want to feel more unified, more in love? Mm-hmm. Because this goes for husband-wife vacations and getaways too. Those can turn out very disappointing.
Yeah, we don't want to monopolize this as a Disney. Everything has to do with how to cope with Disney. It's coping with all of those. Well, we've touched on that kind of like, from our experience being in Orlando, but it's in that it's all chaotic, right? Because it's so many
it could be
people.
The Bahamas,
right? It could be,
and you've got
a private thing.
You're surrounded by wonder and beauty. You still can end up in an argument. You're right.
That's
absolutely. Right. But what I want you to do is focus on what feelings you want. Do you see laughter, silence, lots of rewarding conversation? Do you want to feel peaceful, refreshed, or excited and stimulating? Okay, so there's lots of feelings out there. Don't expect all of it. Do not expect all of it. Pick 2 or 3 feelings to prioritize or aim for. All right. Just specific 2 or 3 feelings that you're going to keep coming back to as a guide, as a measuring stick, as you're planning and choosing what you're going to do on this vacation, and then also while on vacation. For instance, what, based on your family dynamics and culture and makeup, will most likely create or inspire those feelings? Okay, so you're thinking, what are we going to do this year? Well, we really want to feel this.
Maybe that may change from year to year, right?
That's a really good point.
Time to time.
Absolutely. Is it adventure? Is it culture? Is it relaxation? Is it recreation? Or is it a mixture of all that? But the feelings it's not really the adventure itself. It's the feelings that we're going to focus on.
And I like the idea that you're purposeful about it from the beginning in the planning stages, not just, well, here we are. How does the day supposed to go out?
I wanted us all to feel happy. Find out how see if we can get everybody on board in the pre-planning stages. So as you're looking for your ideas, as you're planning in advance, gather all the ideas you want from all the sources out there, from all your friends or from books or from Google or whatever. But don't think that just because it's been laid out this way in the guidebook or whatever. We used to do that all over Europe.
Yeah.
We followed
Rick Steves, whatever Rick Steves said.
Right. We go wherever Rick Steves says to go, right? But don't feel like that family's plans or that book's plans really are aimed towards the feeling or the feelings that you want. And I love how you said that's going to change. Because I'm thinking of our family, and I'm thinking of me as a kid even. And what I thought was fun as a kid was very different by the time I was a teenager. I had no desire to go to Southern California as a teenager. I was very cranky, because no one consulted me. They didn't ask me what I wanted to do. So we ended up doing things I wasn't interested in. So based on the stage of life and whether you have maybe a lot of boys, they're not going to do probably the museum thing, right?
What's the Jane Austen tour?
Yes, right. Or maybe you have more girls or both, or you have a husband that has interests that are very different than yours. But that's going to change what you actually do at any given summer or whenever you go on your vacation. But if you focus on the feelings first as the outcome, then there's a lot better chance that you'll land on the right plans for your
really good
family.
Point.
That feeling thing, though, isn't just a matter of when you're planning. You got to use it every day.
Well, even
as
more
a guide.
so.
Yeah,
because your battle plan's going to hit the enemy.
There you go.
Even more so with all the things that are going to happen. And so if you keep that as the focal point, what you're saying is you keep coming back and kind of,
every hour,
is this really helping us achieve that? Or is my attitude helping achieve that?
Ooh, yeah. Is what we're doing today actually going to bring us the love that we decided we wanted, or the connection, or the fun, or whatever the feelings were that your family has prioritized? I can't help but bring up Disney again because we were just there this week.
Very top of mind
and
for us.
And what we saw is what we've seen for years. And we've been to Disney World innumerable times because we lived in Orlando. And it never ceased to amaze me to see these families at the very end of the day. I mean, these little tiny people and their parents in the strollers, and
their parents were in the strollers.
By the end of the day,
yes, exactly.
They wanted to be, and the kids are just slumped and usually even asleep, or they're crying or whatever. And I would feel so bad for those families because, yes, they achieved their goal of getting their money's worth from Disney. They checked off all the attractions and the rides they wanted to do, and they were going to have it's the happiest place on earth. They're going to get as much
And
happiness as possible.
And it's such a big thing for people. If you look at it, if our vacation is going to be something like Disney,
yes,
they're going to come from who knows where in the world.
Maybe their life savings.
Right. It's a very destination thing that they've worked at and saved for a long, long time. And it can be, it can be really disappointing with that.
Thank you.
Experience.
That's the whole point. So think about it this way. What if instead Mom knew in advance that one of her top vacation feelings was refreshment?
Yeah, I mean, you do. That's what you said at the top. We need a vacation after our vacation.
Right. But that she's on my vacation. I'm going to feel peaceful. I'm going to feel refreshed. And the family is too. This is our goal. It's our top feeling. So if that were the case, then she would have cashed it in a long time before the fireworks.
Yeah.
She would have cashed in. She would have herded everybody back to the hotel just the minute that their eyes started to droop or they started to whine or honey starts talking about his hunger or the heat or she ran out of diapers or whatever. She would have said, okay, what's the priority here? Is it to do Space Mountain or was it refreshment? Oh, it was refreshment. Maybe we'd all be better back at the pool or taking a nap or having a nice relaxed dinner. See?
Yeah, it is these kind of moment by moment, milestone by milestone decisions that make or break those experiences, what you're saying, right?
So that's why you got to just keep coming back to the feeling, back to the feeling.
And it doesn't have to be so black and white as if you are at something like Disney to say, okay, we're leaving, but let's rethink our approach, our strategy now that we're here.
That's my next suggestion.
Okay.
You're getting ahead of me.
Oh, sorry.
We're going to break now for just a minute so I can invite you to my free live masterclass, Understanding Your Husband and Sons. In my work with women in over 70 countries, I found that most of us, when it comes to our husbands and sons, think like Carol in Kenya.
I was expecting him to think like me, behave like me.
Or Dana in Utah.
Shouldn't we just be the same? And shouldn't we just agree?
Or Anne in California.
I grew up in a culture where there was a lot of eye rolling and sighing about guys.
And that's too bad, because when we act or react based on false expectations, we end up feeling like Catherine.
I didn't feel I could relate to him because I didn't understand him.
Or getting riled up like Carol.
Made me mad. It's crazy. It was frustrating,
And acting like Anne.
I used to think he should know what I wanted without me having to ask.
Which just erodes our relationships and blows up our dreams. So that's why I created Understanding Your Husband and Sons, a super fun, eye-popping deep dive into his brain, body, and emotional makeup. Women have been coming from all over the world and coming away from our time together with an exhilarating sense of hope and power, because now women like Amber, Ann, Dana, and Allison understand
how to communicate my needs, how to be clear about it, how not to be run around, how not to manipulate.
The way I communicate with him isn't any more aggressive or threatening to him.
I can see why he's reacting or why he's responding that way.
That's helped to avoid a lot of the hurt feelings that I used to have.
So if, like Jeannie in Canada, you're thinking,
okay, I need to reboot how I think about marriage and men and how they're loved.
Please join me at this free live masterclass, Understanding Your Husband and Sons. I'll teach you things you have never heard before and that you won't hear anywhere else. Science and strategies that will knock your socks off and make all the difference in your relationships.
And it just changes everything about how I see him.
There's this huge potential that I was not really tapping into because I didn't fully understand it.
We're both so much happier now.
And in how you see yourself.
My confidence as a woman has skyrocketed.
We've made it so easy. Just go to wifesavers.org/masterclass and choose a day and time. I'll meet you there and even answer your questions live. Because like Carol in Kenya or Cindy in Argentina, you'll want to be able to say,
Oh, we are wired differently. And that's the beauty of life.
And it set me free. It allowed me to say, okay, I understand now. And I loved him more than ever.
wifesavers.org/masterclass. Suggestion 2, break and breathe.
Yeah, you need to
Break and breathe.
That's
So
right.
if like the example you just gave us, you're in that moment and the kids are whining and you're feeling things sort of get out of control. Personally, my worst moments of feeling out of control is in an airport. I will plan and plan. I'll give lots of time up front. So we're there 2 hours early and everything else, and then the plane's late. The crew isn't there yet, or I get randomly selected
Not to win a prize.
at security, and I have to
right.
go through the whole pat down or whatever. And there's so much that's out of your control in so many situations. It seems worse to me in an airport than in a car. I don't know, but traffic in a car,
Yeah, you never know.
Who knows?
Right.
So in those moments that you're really going down the rabbit hole and you're thinking, this is so unfair. Why does this happen to us? I'll never fly that airline again. I've said that many times. That's the moment. Break and breathe. So when I say break, I'm thinking of like a basketball team taking a timeout. Break. They all come together and then they break. Just take maybe a word, maybe a code word for the family that everybody knows. And maybe it's break and breathe. All right, everybody, break and breathe. And that's the signal. You've talked about it in advance. Maybe you've even practiced it with your littles. And that means everybody stops. And they come in and they huddle. And everybody with mom breathes into the count of 5 and breathes out to the count of 5. Something like that.
Well,
and this will obviously allow mom, particularly, maybe she just does it for herself, or maybe she calls everyone.
Yeah.
But breaking a breathe will allow everyone to refocus on what?
What's the most important?
The feelings.
Yeah, the feelings. It's after the tragedy of 9/11, travel changed, airline travel especially, dramatically changed. And that was in the middle of my heavy travel career. And I remember how different it was. And I had to really adapt. The lines were terribly long because nobody really knew what they were trying to do or how to do it. And there were people that were so upset in the airport, just frustrated and yelling, "What's going on up there?" And everything.
Wow.
And I saw police come and pull people out of the line because they were so verbal and they were wild. And so I just made the decision. I said, there's a lot of things here that I can't control. And I'm not going to worry about those and just let it go. But like you said, I'm going to get there early. I've never been upset about being at the airport too early, right? And because you never know what's going to happen. And so the same thing's true on vacation. Just realize some things are not in my control and try not to let them add to that chaos. But to your point, break and breathe.
In the moment, if you do feel yourself spinning up, break and breathe.
Right. It's a really good idea.
Your idea, though, so well said and reminded us again how much is out of our control. And that is the proper response. And you do have to build in lots and lots of room for it. So suggestion number 3 is to rest and refill. But you got to build in time for that. This, you can't book the whole day, minute to minute, back to back to back to back for any human beings, but especially for little people.
And that here we, since Disney's kind of top of mind here, that we used to see that where people would come or family would come and visit us and stay with us maybe, and they would go and they said, well, what's your plans for the week? Well, let's see. Monday we're doing Epcot, then Tuesday we're doing Magic Kingdom, Thursday we're going to be at Animal Kingdom, or Wednesday we'll be at Animal Kingdom.
Then we're going to Daytona,
then the beach or whatever, Cape Canaveral.
Then we're Cape Canaveral,
and it's like no. You just don't comprehend. You can't do that back to back to back to back. And you just be realistic. And that goes back to the planning thing, to don't put yourself in the position of feeling like you can't rest and refill.
Yes.
Because you've booked all these things
because
up.
You will fail.
Yeah.
You won't get your money's worth.
Yeah, right.
See where your focus is?
But you'll have a better experience and you'll feel better about the money that you've spent. if you do that rather than saying, I got to see everything, I've got to fill it.
Right.
We've spent all this time and money. It's the only time we have all year, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
In the end, what you're going to get out of it is not as good as if you do the important things and give this time. This is so critical to rest and refill.
Rest and refill. So I like to say bellies and buckets.
Bellies and buckets.
That's what, and all that means.
You saying
is,
something about my belly like a bucket? Or
I got to make sure I got to try and be aware. And I'm sorry, moms, that it's on your shoulders, but generally speaking, it does fall on mom's shoulders to be aware of everybody's bellies. Are their bellies full and are their buckets full? Are they feeling paid attention to? Are they feeling like they're, that they're being listened to? Yes,
Yeah.
So bellies and buckets,
And
you
then-
got to keep them refilled and rested.
Right. And the dad's job is to drive and pay. So, right? Bellies and buckets for mom, drive and pay
Bellies
for
and
dad.
buckets for mom.
Drive and pay.
Drive and pay for dad. That's so funny. It's so good. So how do you refill your bucket? I want to talk to moms or wives, especially on the vacation, build in time for your bucket to get refilled. Build in some rest time for yourself, but it doesn't have to be a spa day mud wrap. I mean, that would be really, really nice, but it can be so much simpler. And if it is simpler, you can do it more frequently and it's easier to access, So
Little things add up then.
Yeah. And it'll do just as much good for your heart and mind as the expensive mud wraps. For instance, just sitting quietly with a child or with your husband or walking hand in hand for a little while or looking at a sunset. That's going to do you just as much good as a mud wrap in heart.
Yeah.
in your soul.
What I think you're really saying is the rest and refill is contrast. Something different, right? If you fill your days with the same
Not a
thing
lot of
over and over.
expectation built in.
But this is, we had this big exciting day and we did all this stuff on this day. Let's go walk in the woods and do this today type thing. So contrast really helps, I think, that,
that's a good idea.
because the stimuli is different and
that's
relaxed.
what it is. High level stimulus. I like that. This idea about being rested, though, I want to emphasize that this is a trick that a lot of our listeners have already discovered, but I kind of had to learn the hard way. And it's to start the vacation rested.
Well, that seems to be to go against the whole idea of vacation, doesn't it?
You can ask any of my family, any of my kids. I start packing days in advance.
You do.
It's usually spread out in a corner of my room or something because I don't want to feel pressured and have the cortisol running through my system before I even go walk out the door because did I remember everything? Did I get everything? Oh, I forgot this and where's that? And instead I just take my time. And the day before I try to make actually a very peaceful day. So you make sure everyone gets a good night's sleep beforehand. You start rested and you end rested, meaning you've built in time, an extra day at the end of your vacation where there's no meetings, no school, no work. Take that day off work. Build in one extra day where you can, like you said at the beginning, recoup or rest.
Yeah, I was thinking of one of our trips to Hawaii where I figured you need 3 weeks in Hawaii. You go to Hawaii for the first week and you experience the tropical nature with the sunburns and the bugs and all these things.
I had blisters.
Yeah, you get a week to get
toes.
through that. Then you have a week to do the thing, right? And it's a great time. And then you have a week to recover from all the stuff you did in the second week. That's the way it takes.
3 weeks in Hawaii, everybody. You heard it here on the WifeSavers Podcast.
But it really only comes down to really one full week of a good time. So,
but it's a good point. So rest and refill, that's our third one. Suggestion number 4 is what I call practice people. Now, I bet you have no clue.
No.
These are things that go on in my own head and I don't really talk about. Okay, this is your brain. We've been talking a lot about making extra time for rest and refill and all of that, but this is about making allowance for people.
Who sometimes get in the way?
Exactly. Like the family's the enemy,
we could
right?
do so much if it weren't for all these people around.
Yeah, talking
We'd
to
have
his
such
family.
a wonderful
we could
fun.
have a really good
Weren't
time.
these kids? Where did we get all these kids?
I call it a bumper car world. You've heard me talk about that we live in a bumper car world, and you do your best to avoid collisions, but it's inevitable. You know, the bumper car arenas and the carnivals. Your kids are going to argue. The mother-in-law is going to give you unwarranted advice. Honey will get snappy and a little grouchy and isolated maybe. And your plans, including all the ones we've talked about, you're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm going to focus on the feelings. I'm going to break and breathe. I'm going to rest and refill. I'm ready to go. They're all going to get messed up, just like our letter writer said. She said, it was like I was watching him fly by me.
Yeah. It's the battle plan. It's not surviving that first and second and third encounter.
And that's when you have to practice people, meaning there's only one thing you can do with people.
Just ignore them.
No. You use kindness, compassion, and forgiveness. It's really all you really can do with anybody. You can't change them. You can't make them do anything. You can't coerce anybody, even your own children. Kindness, compassion, forgiveness. For who? For family, for friends, for relatives, for the guy at the airport, for the Uber driver, for the mother-in-law, for your husband, and for yourself. Kindness, compassion, forgiveness.
Yeah, that's the hardest one.
So I was thinking about this. I thought, what does that really mean? Well, it means letting it go. Just like you talked about earlier.
It's not that important.
Wipe the slate clean. It's over. Yeah, you had that bad hour or few minutes or that little argument or tizzy or whatever, but you broke and breathed. And now we're just going to clean the slate. We're going to practice people. So let it go. Let them off. Holding everybody accountable because they ruined this or they did that.
The next day, reminding them of what they did the previous day.
Exactly. It's just like wink at them instead of yell at them. They're like, all right, we're on vacation. You get a pass this time. So let them off and let up on it. Let up on everybody. So take it easy. Take it easier on everybody.
And we're, as a family goes on vacation, they're all in a new environment. It's and it may be familiar, but it's a different experience than the norm.
Like she said, she's outside of her norm.
Yeah.
She's outside of her routine.
So I like that. Just, it's okay. Just take it easy on people.
Right. They don't have to live up to the chart.
Yeah.
Let up on them.
You must be this tall.
Let it go.
You must be this good. You must be this accommodating.
You have to do your chores. Yeah. Just, lighten up, mama. And laugh it off.
Yeah, that's true.
Laugh it off.
Yeah, I remember a speaker once who was her job was a humor therapist. I mean, you can get a degree evidently.
Work.
And wouldn't that be cool to be a humor therapist? And she said, think of a time in the past 5 or 10 years where something really difficult happened. It was stressful and it was really hard to get through. But then later, after the experience, you laughed about it. You look back and you laughed about it.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
We've all got those things,
we all
right?
got that.
But in the moment, it seemed like this horrendous situation. And later, you all sat around and laughed about it. Her point was, why wait? Right? Laugh about it as you're going through it. Laugh now.
Instead of saying, well, we'll laugh about it someday.
Yeah,
Just go ahead and laugh now.
Someday we look at that picture.
Okay, so that's the prescription from a humor therapist.
That's right.
I like that.
Certified.
I like that. All right. So laugh it off. Can everyone remember all that?
HT degree.
Let up on them. Let them off. Let it go. Laugh it off. I like alliteration. That's so fun. Turn the other cheek. Think of it no more. Are we getting the message? I wish someone had told me that in a number of vacations that I'm remembering our time in Germany. I ruined that. I let the dark cloud, we had an argument, and I let the dark cloud just hang over me for, 2, 3, maybe 4, 5 days.
No, a couple of days.
It was pretty bad, but it was wasted time. Yeah. It was because I didn't practice people. I'm with people. I was with my husband. He's a people. I'm a people. And if we're people, we're going to bump into each other once in a while. And then you just shrug it off. All right. So we have focus on feelings, break and breathe, rest and refill, practice people. And the last one, suggestion number 5, is go with gratitude. Go with gratitude. That's really obvious. Come on. Everybody talks about being grateful.
Yeah.
Shift your focus away from the problems and what you didn't happen or that you're lacking or that was missing or the frustrations or the failures you never got to Space Mountain.
That's right.
To what you have or what has happened. That's actually wonderful. When I was thinking through this idea of go with gratitude, you know what I thought of? The play you were in years ago, Our Town.
Oh, yes. Thornton Wilder's Our Town.
And you remember the scene where the main character, Emily Webb, as a young woman dies, isn't it in childbirth?
I believe so. Yeah.
And there's a very compelling, moving scene where she is allowed to come look at her family. They can't see her. She's passed away. She's in her spirit, but we can see her on stage looking at her family, just going about their business. And actually, I think she's allowed to choose a day, and she chooses her 12th birthday. So she's gone back in time, and she's just watching things now from a interesting, objective point of view. And this
experienced point of view.
And I really I think this will help drive home the point of living in the moment. So she says, I can't bear it. She's looking at her family, her siblings, her parents. I can't bear it. They're so young and beautiful. Why did they ever have to get old? Mama, I'm here. I'm grown up. I love you all. Everything. I can't look at everything hard enough. But just for a moment, now we're all together. Mama, just for a moment, we're happy. Let's look at one another. Isn't that compelling? She says, I can't go on. It goes too fast. We don't have time to look at one another. And she cries and cries. And she said, I didn't realize all that was going on in life. And we never noticed. Wait, one more look. Goodbye. Goodbye, world. Goodbye, Grover's Corners. Mama and Papa, goodbye to the clocks ticking and Mama's sunflowers and food and coffee and new iron dresses and hot baths and sleeping and waking up. Oh, Earth, you're too wonderful for anybody to realize you. Do any human beings ever realize life while they live it every minute?
Yeah, it's very compelling from a stage perspective. And that whole show is just all about relationships. And then at the end, when she provides that very fascinating perspective, I think, everyone can appreciate that. But when we get into our, okay, here's what we're going to do, and the logistics of life take over.
Do we ever realize life as we're living it?
Yeah, you just remember we were in Israel and we were walking through Jerusalem, and you said, this is just like Disney. Remember that? And it was like, wait a minute. No. Disney is just like this. And it was that little moment that allowed us to go, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We are where? We are in
We're
Jerusalem.
in the real Jerusalem.
We are
right,
and just really appreciate so much, those experiences. So wherever you are on your vacation, there you are. Right?
There you are. That go with gratitude is the optimal attitude to have in your every day, of course, but you'd like to keep it every day of your vacation, all day long. Go with gratitude. That's going to be rough when you run into the enemy, like you say, and the plans just go haywire. But at the end of the day, at least, think three things that you're grateful for that happened that day. Really specific things like the children laughing. Do you hear the children laughing? Or someone letting you in first in the line? They go ahead, please. Or the smell of this soap in the hotel that you really like, or in the shower, or the view out your window, or someone else said, here, I'll take care of the dishes at the family reunion, whatever it is. Take maybe three things that you can really be grateful for. And this will help you stay focused, and maybe you can even help your family
and more
think through those
grounded,
things.
right? And focused on the why it's important that we're doing what we're doing.
Exactly. So those are my suggestions, the 5 suggestions. Ready? Write them down, everybody. Put them in your vacation planner. Focus on feelings, break and breathe, rest and refill, practice people, and go with gratitude.
So, honey, you know the old adage, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there to hear it, does it make a sound?
Yeah.
The answer is no.
No.
Because a sound has to be received.
Uh-huh.
And that's why I love our subscribers so much. They're receiving our sounds.
We wouldn't have a podcast without them. And I wouldn't have a free live masterclass, Understanding Your Husband and Sons. If people don't sign up, they gotta go to wifesavers.org/masterclass.
Home is with you wherever that may